Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today. This is a live stream that happens Tuesday through Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader at Columbia Center for Spiritual Living in Columbia, Maryland. Today is February 5th. And this is a time of eclectic readings, conversation, discussion, questions, really quite unstructured communication, if you will, about the reading. And then we do a brief 5-minute meditation. We close out with an affirmative prayer, also known as a spiritual mind treatment. So this morning, what called to me was this collection. It's called, let me see if you can see that. There we go. A New Earth Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, 52 Inspirational Cards by Eckhart Tolle. And so what I do is just open the box and drop the stack, and wherever it opens up to is what I accept as the reading for today. So here's what this one offers us. I will just caveat this with it's really quite delightful to see how creation keeps lining everything up for itself. Here we go. Nothing strengthens the ego more than being right. Being right is identification with a mental position, a perspective, an opinion, a judgment, a story. For you to be right, of course, you need someone else to be wrong. And so the ego loves to make wrong in order to be right. Not only a person, but also a situation can be made wrong through complaining and reactivity. Sounds like life on planet Earth right now. Yes? This divisiveness that we have collectively created. I say that intentionally because sometimes we like to use the language that we find ourselves in as if somehow the individualized us didn't participate. And yet we all do. And I think what we're being offered is to identify, own, and heal our participation, our individualized participation. Understanding that what heals in one place heals every place. And so I'm going to read through this one more time. It's short. And I invite you to just take it in and consider where and how are you participating in this reading. Nothing strengthens the ego more than being right. Being right is identification with a mental position, a perspective, an opinion, a judgment, a story. For you to be right, of course, you need someone else to be wrong. So the ego loves to make wrong in order to be right. Not only a person, but also a situation can be made wrong through complaining and reactivity. Comments? Questions? Perspectives? How's that landing for you? With you? I'll pause here for just a moment. I know for me, it's the dance is to recognize conditions and behaviors that are available to change without making them wrong. So we have one comment. I think right and wrong, ego has always been really loud right now. Question is, how loud do I want to be alive in me? Yeah, um, I think the whole right and wrong and ego thing, um, I'll just speak for me, really goes to how I define ego. Uh, Metaphysically, the ego is defined as creation expressing in human form. Now, psychologically, the ego is defined very differently. It's that human part of us that is separate, that sees ourselves as separate, that sees ourselves in competition with somebody or something else. Um, and so for me, first I have to go to, how am I defining ego? Language is such a tricky thing. And that takes me to Don Miguel Ruiz's Be Impeccable with Your Word, which I have found takes more time, takes more words to clearly communicate what it is I'm meaning. And I've also experienced a lot of pushback from that because my experience is that people are annoyed by that. They just want things short, sweet, and to the point. And sometimes to be impeccable with my word, I need more words. So, yeah, it's the whole right and wrong thing is absolutely really loud. How do we not participate in the divisiveness of it? How do we participate in the bridge building? I think we're being offered opportunities instead of taking sides to go to the middle, to go to that, what is oftentimes a really scary place, to go to the middle. What's it feel like in the middle? Are we willing to grow in our own sense of safety and security in the vulnerability of being in the middle? Are we willing to listen to people that we have made wrong, not from the perspective of making them right, but from letting go of that and just actually hearing what one another has to say? Are we willing to say whatever it is we are led to say without a need to be right, without a need to change anyone else's thinking? There's lots of opportunities available to us. Lots. How are we using those? So if there are no more thoughts, no more comments, I'm sure everybody's having thoughts because that's what we humans do. We think. So we'll go ahead and go into our meditation time. It is literally a 5-minute meditation. So I invite you, unless you're driving, please don't do this if you're driving, to just pause. Give yourself a 5-minute practice of meditation. And I really invite you to just be in the 5 minutes. Whatever comes. If your head is really noisy, so what? So what? Be with those thoughts. You don't have to hold on to them, but you don't have to stop them either. To just let them be. Recognize that, okay. And then just stay in that place of contemplation. This is meditation is a practice. And my experience is the more we get comfortable with whatever comes during the meditation, the more beneficial the meditation is. So, an opportunity to resist nothing and to just be for 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. So, with this breath, I know again, I recognize, I recognize one creation that simply has always been. It is everywhere present, and it is the substance, the source, the activity. The creation is simultaneously the creator and the creation and the substance. It is each part, seen and unseen. It is the whole, perfect and complete in its existence, infinite possibility, infinitely expressing in diverse, magnificently individualized, one of a kind, never to be repeated expressions of itself. Never depleted or used up in any way, no matter how many ways it expresses. It is never used up, never depleted, never diminished, never tired, but rather its experience of itself, its expression of itself, forever and ever expanding into infinity. And it is eternal. So every expression of it is always alive. The unformed into form, returning to the unformed. The continuity of creation, the experience of itself, the memory of itself. I am that in form. I am the infinite expressing, exquisitely individualized as this divine idea in creation's imagination to know and experience life as Rafe. And what is true of me is true of all creation. From the divine seeking and experiencing itself as a grain of sand, as a particle of dust, as a beam of light, to every person, place, thing, situation. All creation experiencing itself. And so diversity is the very expression of life and cannot be diminished, cannot be stopped. So I live in awe and wonder and curiosity of every expression of life. I allow myself to be curious, to explore differences with full awareness that every difference is simply a part of the whole expressing. And in the inextricable truth of one, every expression is a part of me expressing, because there is no separate me from creation. So I claim and affirm that today I live in this question of how I'm showing up in every form, refusing to separate myself, refusing to other, refusing to make right and wrong. I stand in the divide as a bridge of understanding, as a bridge of awakening, as a bridge of awareness. And in those moments when separation and criticism, reactivity are inviting, I remind myself of the agency of my being. I remind myself to see beyond behavior, to hear beyond words, to see beyond appearances, to be present with the presence in all form, in all situation, to call that into my awareness, knowing that as I do, I expand the energy, I expand the visibility, and I'm grateful. Grateful that the activity of life, the law of creation, has already made it so. So there is nothing my human me needs to make happen. Rather, to surrender this human expression to be the clearest expression of divinity that I can be each moment. To surrender over and over again, remembering that surrender means not having to fight anymore, that there is no thing and no one to fight against. I choose to be present with what is, at the core, at the essence, the truth of being, and to magnify that. Knowing that everything unlike that is moved, is neutralized by its presence, in its presence. That love is the greatest power there is. So I choose to be that, to let go of everything else, to be aware moment to moment what is available to let go. I release, I release, I release, I release. Everything unlike the truth of being, I release. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.